Okay, let me ask you something. What if I told you that the biggest, most important decision you're going to make this week shouldn't take you days of agonizing analysis? What if it should only take, say, 2 seconds? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But what if the real secret to success is actually learning how to think without thinking? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to unpack the really powerful, game-changing ideas from Malcolm Gladwell's incredible bestseller, Blink. We're going to explore the hidden power and, yeah, the surprising dangers of making those snap judgments. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly nails the core idea we're talking about. It comes from this unbelievable true story about an ancient statue, a statue that totally fooled a whole team of scientists for months, but couldn't get past the gut feeling of a few experts for more than a couple of seconds. I mean, it sounds completely insane, doesn't it? The idea that a quick gut feeling could actually be more on the money than months of careful scientific analysis. But as you're about to find out, our brains, well, they're capable of some truly amazing things. All right, so first up, let's talk about the promise here. Let's really dig into the incredible power of this ability, this like hidden superpower we all have to see the truth in just a blink of an eye. So check this out. This is the story of something called the Getty Kudos. The Getty Museum spent a whopping 14 months and who knows how many millions running every scientific test in the book to prove this ancient Greek statue was the real deal. But then they bring in a handful of top art experts. These experts walk in, take one look, and they feel this immediate, intuitive repulsion. That's literally what they called it. In just 2 seconds, they knew. They just knew it was a fake. And guess what? They were absolutely right. So what is this superpower? Well, it has a name. It's called thin slicing. And what that means is it's our unconscious mind acting like a supercomputer. It takes a tiny, razor-thin slice of an experience and instantly finds the underlying pattern. It's the how behind that powerful gut feeling. And listen, this isn't just for dusty old statues. A psychologist named John Gottman has actually turned this into a science. In what he calls his love lab, he literally records couples just talking to each other. And from that, he thin slices their interactions to predict whether their marriage will last. Get this, after watching a couple for just 1 hour, he can predict with 95% accuracy whether they're going to stay together or get divorced. 95%. That's just mind-blowing. But wait, it gets even crazier. He thought, okay, what if I don't have an hour? So he cut the observation time down to just 15 minutes. And his accuracy? It was still a staggering 90%. So here's the big takeaway from all this. Even in incredibly complex situations, like a marriage or a business deal or a new hire, there's almost always a clear underlying pattern. And thin slicing? That's just our brain's amazing ability to lock onto that pattern in an instant. Okay, but it can't be that easy, right? If it were, we'd all be geniuses. And you're right, it's not that simple. Our instincts can go wrong, spectacularly wrong. And the first major pitfall, the first big danger, is something we can call the information trap. Now, especially for those of us who are entrepreneurs or busy professionals, we're taught that more information is always better, right? More data, more spreadsheets, more reports. We think it makes us safer. But more often than not, we're just drowning in it. And let me show you an example from Cook County Hospital, where this was literally a life or death problem. So in their ER, doctors were trying to diagnose heart attacks by looking at everything. I mean, dozens of factors, all the complexity you see on the left. But then a cardiologist named Lee Goldman came along and created this radically simple algorithm. It basically ignored almost all of that data and focused on just only three critical questions. And the results? They were absolutely stunning. Goldman's super simple rule was not only better at catching the people who were having a heart attack, it was 70% better at identifying the patients who weren't. Think about that. It meant they could send people home safely instead of admitting them for no reason. It proved, without a doubt, that sometimes less information is way, way more. And that's the thing to remember. In those high-stakes moments, all that extra information, it's more than useless. It's actually harmful. It just confuses the issue, it clouds our judgment, and it stops us from seeing that simple, clear pattern that's sitting right in front of us. But drowning in data isn't the only trap. There's another one. And honestly, this one's a little darker, a little more insidious. What happens when your gut feeling is just plain wrong, corrupted by biases you don't even know you have? For that, I want you to meet Warren Harding. I mean, look at the guy. He was tall, he was handsome, he was distinguished. He just looked the part. He looked like a president. So the American public thin-sliced him, voted him in a massive landslide, and he went on to become one of the absolute worst presidents in American history. Gladwell actually gave this a name. He calls it the Warren Harding error. It's the dark side of thin slicing. It's what happens when our snap judgment is based on something totally superficial, like how someone looks, and that first impression is so powerful that it just completely short-circuits our rational thinking. And this is where it gets really serious, because this kind of error, it's at the root of so much prejudice and discrimination. It creates this disconnect, right? A gap between our conscious values, the things we say we believe in, and these powerful, hidden, unconscious associations that can actually be driving the car. So we have this incredible power, but it's also loaded with traps. The question is, how do we get all the good stuff from thin slicing without falling for the bad stuff? Well, this last part is all about how you can take control and actually start training your instincts to work for you. Okay, so here's a simple 3-step playbook you can use. Number 1, edit frugally. Be like those doctors at Cook County. Learn to aggressively ignore the noise and focus only on the 1 or 2 things that really matter. Number 2, fight your biases. You have to be aware of the Warren Harding error. When you have a strong first impression, ask yourself, is this based on substance, or is it just because they look the part? And finally, number 3, build your database. Those art experts knew the statue was a fake because they'd spent decades looking at art, educating their unconscious. You need to do the same. Deliberately practice and analyze things in your own field to make your gut smarter. Because look, at the end of the day, it's not about instinct versus analysis. That's the wrong way to think about it. True mastery is all about finding the balance. It's about knowing when to trust that 2-second gut feeling and when to step back and say, okay, time to slow down and really think this through.
So I'll leave you with a question to take with you into your work, into your life. The next time you're facing a high-stakes decision, ask yourself, what is the critical pattern here? And what is just noise? Can you tell the difference?
Because being able to answer that question, that's your edge. For business owners, finding that signal in all the noise is the absolute key to growth. So if you want to take action, move forward, and find more clients by focusing on the right signals, you can book a free call with CT Marketing. Just use the link below.